Talking real estate with Mark Wehner here at Champions Real Estate Team at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. So I'm team leader at Champions Real Estate Team. Every Wednesday we jump in and kind of give you a rundown what's going on in the real estate market. But first off, we're going to give you our quick tip of the week. So one thing my dad taught me as being a fourth generation realtor, basically, when you're looking at a house, what's the first thing you should look at a house? Well, we look at the basement. Because you can look at all the lipstick upstairs and all the updates and things like that. But if you go downstairs and if there's water in the basement or there's, you see some cracks in the foundation or things like that, and it's not a good foundation and there could be potential, repairs of that such, maybe we should move right on to the next house. So that's kind of our quick tip is, get down and look in the basement first. I know everyone look at all the bells and the whistles upstairs, but the important stuff, is downstairs with your HVAC and all that other kind of stuff that's down there that are kind of more your big ticket items. Ultimately, yes, you can upgrade and update things upstairs that are going to cost money, but you don't really no one's really too excited to tell everybody that, hey, come see my new wall anchor system in my foundation. So everyone likes showing off their kitchen, their bathrooms, or, and all that good stuff. But anyways, that's kind of the quick tip for today. So take a look at the basement. So we'll jump into our market updates with our graphics we usually use here. So as it pulls up for everybody, we got 396 new listings over the last 7 days, and we had 384 new contracts written over the last 7 days. So as you can kind of see, it's one in, one out. So, we're getting good, activity as houses come on the market. I think last week we had about 444, if I remember correctly. So we're down a little bit from that, but I think, the weather's, we're in the 80s, 90s this week. I think so you're going to start seeing that. What we typically do see is, when Memorial Day and before, so we see a little bit of a slowdown just because you start having graduation parties. As silly as it sounds, those little things like that kind of slow down the market a little bit, and then it kind of ramps up, after Memorial Day because summer hits and everyone's like, okay, we're going to go. And then kind of after 4th of July, you start seeing everyone's like, oh, we got to get our summer vacations in before school starts. And so it's, historically, in the 15 years I've been in it, that's kind of been a historical pattern. So that's just some things to think of when you're going to be buying and even selling. So, if you're a buyer and you're going to be out in maybe some of those slower times, you might have an advantage of not having as much competition. Yes, there's going to be competition, but maybe not as many. And then we had 332 happy new homeowners this last week. So congratulations to them. So we'll take a look at the 30,000 foot view of the Omaha and Lincoln MLS combined here. So if this pulls up for everybody, we got 1,928 active listings. I did take out the no-show listings in the Omaha and Lincoln MLS, kind of basically most of the eastern Nebraska. So in Douglas, Sarpy County, closer to home here at 1,130 homes. And then we had existing homes up a little bit, 327 existing homes. New construction down a little bit. I think we're about the 830 level last week, and we're about 800 or so in there. So we're seeing more of those homes come off the market. I think there's 232, if I remember correctly, when I looked, existing or completed new construction. So those would be spec homes, sometimes they're model homes and things of that sort. And then the other, 600 are, in the process of being built. Maybe they're custom homes that are out there. So they're not really on the market to be sold, but we're seeing that. So months of inventory stayed the same over the last week, about just under 2 months supply of inventory. So what that means is, we didn't put any more houses on the market, we'd be out of houses in 1.9 months of inventory. Our average sold price was down to about 316 about 2 weeks ago. Now we're back up to 319. We're starting to see some of those markets. I think I talked about last week, kind of the three different segments of markets. You kind of got the starter homes kind of up to that 300 to 400 price point, and then above 400, about 900, and 900 and up. We're seeing tons of activity in that first tier kind of aspect of it. I was just showing houses out in that kind of the move up kind of range between that 400 900. And the house I showed was on the market last October through January. They took it off the market, put it back on the market, and it's been on the market for another couple days or a couple weeks here. So those are some of those things that, taking a look at those, as an agent going, oh, my client's like, well, it just came on the market. I'm like, no, it hasn't. It was back on the market in October. Obviously, the environment we were in there, so that's been on there for a little while. They've done some price reduction. So that's what we're seeing in that market. If it needs a little bit of work or things of that sort, or that, like this house was, only 2 or 3 years old, which is a great house. It was an awesome house, but you can go buy a brand new one across the street because it's in a new construction neighborhood. So that's the competition that you have from from a seller's perspective, if you're trying to sell your house, it's only a couple years old, the buyers can go, well, I can go buy a brand new one for X amount, it might be a little bit more, but it's brand new. Some people look at it, in that regards, from that standpoint of it. But, and then above that 900 price point, it's very competitive, multiple offers and things of that sort. So that's kind of the breakdown, what we're seeing in the market here. And then we'll jump in here with Russ Williams with Williams Mortgage. He'll kind of give us a rundown what's going on in the real estate market. And before we got on, we were kind of talking some different ways of financing a house and different structures of that. So we'll kind of touch on that. So how are we doing, Russ?
Doing pretty well. Mortgage rates is not a lot new to report. We're continuing to see some mild improvement, and we expect to continue seeing that as the year moves on. But probably most importantly, anytime that financing is involved, especially in a strong seller's market like we still are in right now, at the lower price points, Mark, we're still seeing a tremendous amount of cash offers going in. You probably are too. In fact, I've heard some anecdotal stories of over 20 offers on a single property. And think about it from the perspective of a seller. If one of those offers happens to be cash, all else being equal, the seller's going to take that cash offer every day, which makes it very difficult if you're coming in wanting to finance that purchase to win that bid. So there are some things that can be done to try to improve your situation. And it's important to have a game plan to discuss those and know what options are available to you. Everybody's a little bit different. One thing that we've seen some folks use is what's called delayed financing. And delayed financing basically means that, listen, even though we don't want to pay cash for this property, we are going to use maybe some of our cash reserves, maybe use some funds from retirement, et cetera, to buy the property. And then immediately after closing, we'll put the financing into effect and recoup or reimburse your deposit, your investment or retirement account. There are ways to do that without having some of the waiting periods that lenders want. And lenders really haven't had to talk about it, Mark, because we really haven't had markets like this around here. But it is something that folks need to be aware of. So if you're looking at financing a purchase or not wanting to pay full cash for a purchase, it makes sense to talk with your lender about those other options that might be available and make sure that you can have the best chance to win that bid, because it's tough out there, especially, what do you think, under the price point 350, 400? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of cash offers that are out there, and I think sometimes people are, like you said, they're, maybe they're getting a relative to like loan them that money out of a retirement account or something like that. Then they're turning around and refinancing it, paying back the person that loaned them essentially that cash offer just to get their foot in the door. And then, they qualify for that loan, that home buyer, but they don't have to put them in a better position to win that offer. I think that's just an option that some people are using. And if they have that availability, it's not a bad option. But ultimately not everyone out there has that cash on hand, to do that. And we're seeing, investors coming in, that are buying those cash offers because the rents are fairly steady, in that regard. So, but, yeah. So
the other thing we're seeing a lot more of now is bridge loans. We talked about them a little bit last year. Those are in vogue again. And in a market like this, think about it from the seller's perspective. Again, if two offers come in and one of them is contingent upon you selling your departing residence, the seller is likely to take the other offer, all else being equal. So bridge loans are a method that you can basically move or bridge the equity from your old home to use as down payment on the new home. So make sure you talk with your lender about that too. Mark's doing daddy duty today. Double duty.
Yes. Sorry about that. My daughter came rolling over here with her ice cream cart and the music playing. So she got close enough I could turn it off. But anyways, so yeah. Oh, here we go. She's turned it back on. So if anybody wants ice cream, we got ice cream in my house. So Mickey Mouse is serving. So, but anyways, appreciate everyone jumping in, listening to us. We try to get you the best information that we can on what's going on out there in the real estate market, with the quick tips that we're starting, and then, what's going on in the financing market. Hi, you saying hi? You want to say hi? Come here. You say hi. Can you say goodbye? Oh. Did you bring us ice cream?
Mark, she's growing like a weed.
Yeah. So, get your hair out of the way. You say hi? What do you got? Those are your binoculars. So anyways, appreciate everyone jumping on to us and checking us out. And if you have any questions, give me a holler, 402-672-7670. Russ is 290-8936. But yeah, we're happy to help. We're on here every Wednesday. If you have any questions or topics or anything you want us to touch on, I'm happy to do so. If you want to talk to us individually, that's great too. So via Zoom, in person, all that kind of fun stuff. So anyways, appreciate everybody, and we'll talk to everybody later.